A man has been killed after he was hit by a car in Maylands overnight. The 45-year-old was struck outside the Peninsula Tavern on Railway Parade about 11 o'clock. He was taken to Royal Perth Hospital but died from his injuries. The 63-year-old driver who hit the pedestrian hasn't been charged. Anyone who witnessed the accident should contact police.
Friends and family of a young Perth man killed in a Jandakot crash are pleading with young drivers to take extra care on our roads. A fundraiser was held last night to help survivor Kyla Eastcott, who's still in hospital with swelling on her brain.
A delicate wave from her hospital bed.
Can you wave for us again?
Kyla Eastcott thanks family, friends and strangers.
Clever girl. She was in tears actually. Her sister showed her a little bit of footage and yeah, she broke into tears.
That footage was of a fundraiser, Cruise for Kyla, held last night, which also remembered the life of 20-year-old Jaden Parent. Both were passengers in a high-powered car which crashed in Jandakot early last month.
If we could raise 5,000, I'd be happy. But even if we could raise 1,000, every cent counts.
Just hope that we can raise lots of money to ease the burden, the financial burden for Kyla's family.
Jaden's father has avoided the crash site where his son was killed, but last night he placed a white cross and plaque made by Jaden's mates. Their grief also came with a warning to young drivers to take extra care on the road.
If we can, save a life, just by creating awareness, that would be really good out of tonight.
I want that awareness out there because I'm over watching my friends die in car accidents.
19-year-old learner driver Luke Offer was charged over the crash and will face court again next month.
I feel nobody could punish him as much as he would be punishing himself.
The focus for Leanne, her daughter. She had turned 18 just days before the devastating crash. Now she's learning to perform simple movements again, but she's incredibly fragile, with part of her skull still lodged in her brain. This week will be another huge physical test. Doctors will remove a tube which helps her breathe.
There is going to be months and months, possibly years of rehabilitation. So this will help to get anything that she'll need for the future.
Tracy Vo, 9 News.
He's the cold-blooded killer responsible for the single worst massacre in Australia's history. Martin Bryant murdered 35 people at Port Arthur in 1996, and today he's unrecognisable after almost 20 years behind bars.
From the shadows of Hobart's Risdon prison, killer Martin Bryant. Unrecognisable now, the long blonde hair cropped, his weight has doubled to 160 kilos. The News Corp pictures were shot from more than half a kilometre away. Bryant can still clearly be seen pacing past other prisoners. He's a loner. According to one former prison guard, he's often drugged to the point of being a vegetable. April 1996 and Bryant calmly shot and killed 35 people in and around Port Arthur.
Police came across the body of a woman and her 3-year-old daughter lying on the roadway.
Bryant was given 35 life sentences. He exists in a bare 2 to 3 metre cell. He's known by some prison guards as Porky Pig. With ongoing health issues, he's often treated at Royal Hobart Hospital, sometimes by the very nurses who treated his victims 19 years ago. "We lost people we loved," one nurse said. "Having to look after him is awful." Jail has done nothing to curb his appetite for violence. He attacked a male nurse earlier this year, leaving him with a fractured jaw. Former prisoner Tony Bull says Bryant is cunning. In some ways he seemed like a dumb child, but then he's a very good chess player. He's got a lot more going on than you think. The video could well prompt prison authorities to shut off any view of Bryant in the future. His world could be about to get smaller than it already is. Mark Burrows, 9 News.
7 News.
We're about to take you inside the ICE crackdown on Perth streets. Not since the heroin crisis of the early 90s have police been instructed to focus so much effort on a single drug. 7 News was granted special access as detectives raided the Lath Lane home of a suspected methamphetamine trafficker.
This is the front line in Perth's ice war. No knocking here. Their target, a 31-year-old man. He's suspected of being involved in distributing trafficable amounts of methamphetamine on Perth streets. It was a rude awakening. He was fast asleep in bed with his girlfriend in this Lathlane mansion when police made their entry. As part of the investigation, proceeds of crime detectives have frozen the $2 million home under WA's asset seizure laws. Detectives had been watching him for weeks. The takedown, a highly organised and covert operation in the early hours of the morning.
We're just going to pull up short. Yep. Just as you go up the top of the hill, just you go over the top, you'll see it.
WA has the highest ice use in the nation, and not since Perth streets were flooded with heroin in the early 90s have police been instructed to focus so much on one single drug. In the past year, nearly 500 kilos of meth has been seized here, including last month's record 321 kilogram haul. While there's a big effort being put into intercepting methamphetamine as it hits WA, police say taking out those further down the chain allegedly responsible for peddling the drug in our suburbs is just as crucial. In the past few months, Armidale detectives have arrested more than a dozen ice dealers from several southeastern suburbs. Police say it's those street to mid-level dealers who peddle the ice-related misery in the community.
We take these people out, we chop them off at the knees, and then it has a flow-on effect up and down the chain.
Grant Wynn, 7 News.
Bryant.
From the studios of 7 Perth, Rick Arden.
Good evening, welcome to 7 News. A father of 3 has been charged over an alleged hit and run in Mount Pleasant that left a cyclist seriously injured. Police say it was significant public pressure which finally resulted in the 46-year-old man handing himself in to police this afternoon. Here's crime reporter Grant Wynn.
On the back of a flatbed truck being driven into the police forensic branch, the white Toyota Hilux, which police had been hunting for 4 days. It was the alleged driver's solicitor who phoned police yesterday and directed them where to find it. Forensic investigators examined the ute today after it was towed from his Parkwood home. Police say security vision, which showed the vehicle in the moments before the alleged hit and run, played a crucial role.
And that helped us certainly in identifying the vehicle, and that led to this man handing himself in through his lawyer.
Cyclist Thomas Lyons is a respected climate change scientist.
And it's the whole system that you've got to look at, seeing that impact. And we are warming the planet quite markedly.
The 66-year-old was hit as he rode his bike in Mount Pleasant last Friday morning. Whoever hit him didn't stop. His family are maintaining a constant vigil by his bedside.
Well, the victim in this case is in a very serious condition, and we're just in contact with the doctors, and they'll keep us abreast of any changes in his condition.
The 46-year-old alleged driver has been charged with dangerous driving causing grievous bodily harm, failing to render assistance and failing to report an accident. He's due to front court in November. Grant Wynn, 7 News.
WA police are failing to fill jobs for trained investigators, causing a detective shortage across Perth. The government is playing down the problem, but the police union says it's serious. Jeff Parry reports.
There are more than 700 police detectives in WA, but there are more jobs than investigators to fill them.
There are about 50 detective positions throughout the metropolitan area that are vacant.
Perth, Kensington and Armidale have the biggest vacancy rates, Midland, Joondalup and Mirrabooka not far behind. And filling those jobs will be a tall order because it seems fewer uniformed officers want to become detectives. The last 3 schools for investigators have had fewer students.
Detectives generally are meant to deal with serious crime, but it's our understanding from what our members are telling us that they're dealing with often menial tasks.
The Police Minister, Lisa Harvey, dismissed the concerns about the number of detectives.
We've made a provision for an additional 200 detective positions.
WA Police have undergone massive reform over recent years and the police union says it's starting to come unstuck. Not so long ago, the police had specialised squads to deal with specialised crime, like armed robbery. The police union wants some of those squads brought back. Last month, police announced Operation Sweep in response to a spike in crime. 1,000 police assigned to cleaning up our streets.
There are no additional resources and nothing different than the day-to-day policing operations is occurring.
Jeff Parry, 7 News.
2 paramedics have been ambushed during a call-out to a home in Yanchep. They were responding to reports of an injured 16-year-old girl. But when they tried to treat her, it's alleged one man damaged the van and another threatened them.
It's absolutely disgraceful. Like we've lived here for four years now. Never had any problem like that at all in this street.
2 men and a 16-year-old girl were charged over the incident.
7 News.
Police are hunting 2 men tonight who escaped a minimum security prison near Geraldton last night. Robert James Flanagan and Lyle Brandon Ryan scaled a barbed wire fence at Greenough Regional Prison. Police say they aren't considered dangerous but shouldn't be approached. Any sightings should be reported to police on 000. WA. A group of ducks could be to blame for major freeway delays this morning. A truck flipped on the Kwinana Freeway northbound around 10:30am. Witnesses say the crash was caused when other drivers slammed on their brakes to avoid ducks that were trying to cross the road. Kwinana Freeway was closed for an hour. The driver wasn't injured.